Have you ever just logged into Fortnite and thought, what would it be like to teleport back to season 1, 2 or 3? I'm sure many of you have. Fortnite has been one of them games for me which I've loved from the start and I still love it to this day. But there is so much I want to do to go back in time and still play the OG Fortnite season 1 to I'd say season 5 of that OG Fortnite vibe where we would build forts and actually have fort battles rather than the classic build fight. And in today's video we've actually taken the idea from this Reddit post here that you can see on screen right now, which describes Epic's thinking of Fortnite was really different of what we were thinking, wasn't it? And I absolutely love this post. I saw it up today and I thought, you know, I've got to make a video on it. It brought back so many memories to my mind and so many discussion points to talk about in today's video, from what were Fortnite's original intentions for the actual building mechanic in the game, where did it all go wrong, how could we actually bring back the OG vibe into the game, and also the state of the meta that has affected all of us. So make sure you stay in tune throughout the entire video, guys, and smash a like on the video. Let's see if we can get 3,000 likes. The question of today on today's video is, if you could time travel back to one point in Fortnite's history, what point would it be? I'll tell you guys my point at the end of the video. Also, if you're new around here, consider smashing subscribe, but let's get into this straight away. So I'm going to pop up a few of the original Fortnite trailers you can see on screen right now. We have some of the proper OG ones from back from 50v50 and some of the original ones as well from early seasons, and you can see the idea and concepts that Fortnite have used for this is still that building theme. They wanted people to build bases on hills. They wanted people to build huge porta forts technically and have them all over the place, and you'd be hiding in that fort until the storm pushes you out, so therefore you have to push another fort. Now this is the way Fortnite originally did actually play. The idea of the name Fortnite was coming from that whole fort of like kind of building aspect where you build your own fort and hide in it. This is the whole concept behind the game. The game soon changed from that. As we know, around season 4, season 5, buildings started to become insane. The vibe of having them kind of bases on hills and all that disappeared, and build fighting entered into the meta. And then build fighting is just something which has been massive. It's something which people have loved. I loved it to start with, and then there was a certain point around season 7, season 8 where it really did take it to another level, where you'd have to actually physically practice it daily to actually get good at build fighting, and that made for many casual players like myself find the game a lot more difficult, and I've never really progressed from that season 7 me. I still can't build fight because I've never put the time and effort in to practice build fighting, because it's not something that I enjoy in the game. I enjoy other stuff like the storyline, the map changes, save the world, creative, Battle Royale itself, just playing it how I used to, and also Team Rumble. These are things that I still enjoy in the game, but the actual aspect of build fighting, it never really clicked with me. When I first went to watch Fortnite and watch the trailers, etc., I wanted to play a game that was basically giving you the ability to build forts in a Battle Royale, as if build your own environment. Now, there's lots of talking points and factors that we can pull off from this, where Fortnite went wrong and exactly what is going on currently with the current meta. So first off, I want to start off with the current meta. So the meta itself is actually so insane, where if you pop into a casual game on Battle Royale, not competitive, none of that stuff, you're going to be put against a skill-based matchmaking, which is good because it's giving you less building, but there is also still that 1 or 2 players in that game that build so much better than you stand no chance against them. Now many of you are probably saying, Pat, why aren't you actually practicing? Why aren't you getting better at this to actually compete against these people? And like I said, it's not something I want to do. I don't want to be practicing build fighting every day. Many of you may practice build fighting, you may enjoy having 1v1s with your friends, etc., which is perfectly fine. That's an enjoyable thing to do in the game, and that's obviously going to make your skill a lot better than mine and other people in game. So for you, this may not be the point of view, but the point of view I'm trying to point towards is that OG vibe. Did you ever really want to actually still build your little houses on the hills and stuff and have that kind of snipe war, kind of like the sieging the houses? There's so much of it in trailers, and Fortnite did originally give us this kind of feel for the game. So with the meta, with that being said, we've got obviously the competitive meta. Here is a recent game from the Fortnite World Cup, the very last game, and the style of playing this is still build fighting, but build fighting isn't there. So this style of play is what I would enjoy. So I would enjoy doing this. I'd love to have these box fights they're doing. I think it's very fun and looks very enjoyable. What they're doing in this is what many of us wish we could do, because you've got to have the skill to be able to edit very, very quickly, and I'm sure this style of play is very enjoyable compared to the standard build fighting you'd get in casual Fortnite, where if you just searched up for a normal solo game or queued up for it, you'd obviously get like a one-on-one build fight at the end, and it wouldn't have any of this style of play because there's like 50 people in the circle in this game. So the style of play is different. Obviously the skill gap here is so hard to get to actually get games like this. It's very difficult. If I go on competitive right now and go for a game, I'm still going to be put with the same sort of people I'm playing in the normal solo, where they're build fighting at the end and not playing this style of turtle style meta, whatever you want to call it. That style looks very fun and enjoyable. So for many players like me, which I'm sure many of you watching this video are at the same ability as me and still wish for that style of kind of, maybe not the turtle style, but the old season 1 to season 4 style, you know, we're in a position now where we're stuck. I feel like Fortnite have really pushed out that casual style in their game. I know a lot of us casual players still play Fortnite and we enjoy it. We play a lot of Team Rumble and we still play Battle Royale for fun, and I do all the time. But we've got to kind of consider, where has this gone wrong? What have they done to kind of make us not be able to stick with the meta? And that's because they haven't added in anything for us. And that leads on to me to talk a little bit further about our next point on ideas that Fortnite could actually put in the game to bring this back towards us. So there are so many ideas I have for this, and the main idea I've got for it is obviously the development of increase in health in the structures. Now this would only be for an LTM. You wouldn't put this as the main game mode, you'd test it first on an LTM. We've had similar LTMs to this in the past. We've had ground war, which limits building because you can only have a certain amount of materials, but I think the old building style with the bases and stuff is still what we want. So a game mode that gives your structures infinite health would be really, not infinite health, but extreme amount of health would be very interesting, and that would change the style of play, but it would still cause build fighting. Now there's an entire separate video on my channel where I've actually came up with the solution for this, and I've gone as far as to recommend this to the creative director Donald Mustard at E3. I actually recommended this idea to him in about a 30-second sentence. It wasn't the best recommendation, obviously, because I was kind of really excited to meet him and I was kind of struggling to get my words out to describe exactly what it was, this game mode. But I've got a video on my channel basically describing this. And this is a game mode which actually delays people from building up fast, so it stops the build fighting. It still allows you to build forts because you can, but it doesn't allow you to build up, and the way it does that is by flashing the stairs and flat piece yellow. So if you try and walk on them, you will fall straight through them. Now this doesn't actually exist in Fortnite, but this would work to bring back that OG feel, because there'll be no more build fighting at all, but you still could build like structures and build kind of like forts and that. Now you're probably thinking, how would you siege the forts? Now that is an interesting question, but you could use stuff like bounce pads, and you could also use other methods as well. When climbing mountains, you'd have it so it instantly builds on the floor. It's just when it goes off the floor, it doesn't instantly build, which would make it quite hard to siege structures, but that's the whole idea. You've got to break them down from the bottom, or you've got to kind of like climb your way in and box fight your way up, which would be cool and make the game a lot more kind of OG vibes and kind of give that OG feel for a lot of us. And I think something like that would be very, very enjoyable. So Fortnite's first view on this game definitely was to have this fort type of battling. You know, porta forts were added in. We had 2 separate porta forts added in, again kind of emphasizing on the fact that Fortnite still wants us to have these huge snipe fights across mountains and buildings. We see it in so many trailers. We see it in the OG trailers. The best one's the 50v50 one, where there's a fort versus a fort. We've seen it in so much of stuff that Fortnite just really want us to do this, but we just never did it. The community just decided to take build fighting to the next level. And who is to blame for that? Mainly us YouTubers, us creators and streamers. We're the ones that kind of enforce this. Without the creators, we would never actually be able to really know what's going on with the build fight, and it would go around by word of mouth, obviously over time, but to start with, it would have never actually been there. You know, this would have took a lot longer to develop, but because of creators and streamers and myself and many other people who do this style of play, obviously there's so many more people, probably tons and tons of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people much better than me at this, that have put this forward, this build fighting method. That's the way Fortnite has gone. So there are solutions for it, and with the new update with the new engine, the Chaos engine, I do actually personally believe this could be a fix to it as well. With the Chaos engine, it could allow for a completely different style of Fortnite, changing the entire meta entirely, having it so when you shoot at a wall, rather than doing that cartoon animation that it currently does and breaks the wall down slowly and you can't shoot through the wall until it's actually fully broken, you can now actually pierce holes in them potentially with that Chaos engine, which will be getting added into the Unreal Engine in the next few days for testers, and then next season, which will be Chapter 2 Season 2. So that's going to be very exciting stuff. Obviously, if you're watching this video for some reason in Chapter 2 Season 2 and this has already been implemented, then fair enough, they've fixed this kind of problem for many of casual players. But if they've not actually done this, then maybe it could be something they're willing to try out in an LTM or something. I think all the suggestions I've made in today's video will be LTM worthy, but not actually the official game until it's confirmed by many in the community. I think you could even change up Fortnite entirely and have competitive play one way and have the normal solo duos and squads play another way, because competitive is for the competitive vibe. I think many competitive players would complain without the build fighting at all and not having that. However, when you watch these competitive games, you see the box fighting, you see this style of play, and that box fighting is something that is very interesting and something that many people could still do if you put a delay on your ramp and flat. You could still have these box fights, you just won't be able to walk on them until they're fully constructed, which would change the entire style of play. You could also put delays on edits, you could do so much with it and make it so different, the game, and have a completely different vibe, and also make it playable for them casual players. I think Fortnite have really focused on competitive recently, and it's something which I actually asked and talked to with Donald Mustard about, you know, the difference between Fortnite casual and competitive, and he did say it is difficult making the game applicable for both, and I personally now feel like the game has definitely gone towards more of a competitive vibe, even in the casual game modes. I know skill-based matchmaking isn't meant to fix that, but in my opinion it hasn't, especially in the lower lobbies for myself. I search a game, I'll get to the top 3 and then always get outbuilt by at least 1 or 2 of the players in that final section. Almost 9 times out of 10 this is going to happen to me in a solo battle royale game. I know duos and squads, you can get unfiltered skill based matchmaking on there, and it's not even enabled sometimes. I'm not too sure exactly what's going on with duos and squads. I don't know the exact rules if it's on or not, but I've heard as well that skill based matchmaking is enabled on Team Rumble as well. I can tell that because when I pop into a Team Rumble game, people are just building and building, cranking 90s for fun, and you just can't kill them sometimes because they're cranking so fast, and I can't crank really very fast at all. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think of this, and if you've made it right to the end of the video, comment down below Porter Fort. It means a lot to me if you've made it right to the end, and put your Epic Games ID in it as well. I'll be gifting a few of you that have made it right to the very end of the video. And just let me know your thoughts as well. Just tell me, what do you guys think of this? Do you think they should try something new in the LTM? Are you missing that Season 1 vibe and Season 2, 3, 4 vibe? I personally wish I could teleport back, but I can't. There is no possible way, but if there was, and someone offered me a teleportation device for one kind of teleportation to one point in time within Fortnite's history, I'd choose around Season 2, 3, and I just love it when Tilted Towers first got added in around there. So when the build fighting wasn't really taken off, but you'd build like a box and hide in that and kind of snipe over it. That's where I'd go back to anyway, if I could pick a point, or maybe even back in the early Halloween December Season 1, before Season 1, just as Season 2 released around there. So some early times and some very cool stuff, but that's what I'd pick. Let me know in the comments where you'd teleport back to in Fortnite. I think I'm going to put this question at the start of the video for you guys as well, so I know where you would personally go. So thank you so much, hope you guys have enjoyed. Smash that like, smash that subscribe, and once again, this is Postbox Pat, signing out.